All right, it's everywhere in the media. The Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC's 1.04 trillion naira fine on telecoms giant MTN.
MTN was fined 200,000 naira for each of the 5.1 million unregistered customers' lines it failed to deactivate before a deadline.
And joining us from Ikoyi is the Lagos Zonal Coordinator of the Nigerian Communications Commission, Okechukwu Aninweke. Good to have you. Now, let's begin this way. Why was it necessary to fine MTN, especially to the tune of 1.04 trillion naira?
Well, I don't know whether we should start by the tune of the 1.04 trillion naira. But the reason for their getting fined was because they failed to comply with certain stipulations relating to the SIM card registration process. So whatever the amount turned out to be is a result of well-established and well-articulated regulation guidelines regarding that particular part of the operations or processes.
All right, is this...
So what I'm saying in essence is it could have been just 200,000, assuming it was only one subscriber that was not deactivated at the time. It could have also been much less than that. It could also have been more than that. So it depends on the level of infraction, given the stipulated guidelines that were issued long before that particular time. I mean, long before the deadline.
All right,
so the clarification needs to be made that we are not looking for 1.40 trillion or 5 billion or $2 billion or any amount.
All right,
I've made the point. The point is that there was an infraction, there was a non-compliance, and the rule says that if you do not comply with a particular number of SIM cards that were involved, that has to be multiplied into some certain sums. In this case, 200,000 naira per SIM.
All right, Mr.
Aninweke. On compliance.
All right, Mr. Aninweke, is this the only measure available, to whip offenders back into line?
In this particular case, because there are lots and lots of regulatory processes that's carried out at the NCC. But in this particular case, yes, because the regulation was actually issued long time ago in 2012 and 2013. And you remember that we did the SIM card registrations in 2011. I mean, the initial periods, and then it continued because people are going to continue coming onto the networks. So the regulation, the stipulations were there long ago, and it was made clear to every network, not even MTN alone, all of them that had the subscribers that were involved in the SIM card registrations and that had some of them that were defective and improperly registered.
Okay, so now...
The regulation was there that, look, if at the end of time, by the deadline, you have any number of SIM cards that were found to be improperly registered or not properly or not registered at all or had any kind of defectiveness in their registration quality, but they were fined that particular amount of money.
Okay, the new communications minister, Adebayo Shitu, has said that Nigerians do not want the MTN or any other telecoms company for that matter to die or to leave Nigeria. But the question is, now, with this infraction on the part of MTN and the other telecoms companies, is this a reflection of the attitude that has prevailed before now on the part of foreign companies doing business in Nigeria?
I didn't get you very well. Is this a reflection of what?
Yes, of the attitude of foreign companies who do business in Nigeria. Is this what has happened with the MTN or other telecoms companies? Is this what it reflects? Is this how foreign businesses have carried on so far in the country before now?
Well, I can only speak for telecommunications that I have a little knowledge about. I do not want to agree with you or not agree with you about the reflections of attitudes or whatever. What has happened in this case is that certain the particular part of stringent expectations on compliance were not duly carried out appropriately, and the law has to follow its course. So if you are talking about attitude, if you are talking about certain other kind of interpretations of the activities of multinationals, I'm sure you may give a little bit of exception to telecommunications, because one of the best ways we have made successes and progress in this country as far as certain aspects of the sectors or industries are concerned is telecommunications, and it has been powered by these multinationals. I'm not saying that I've not infracted or failed to carry out certain regulatory expectations of them from time to time, but however, you know that telecommunications is an internationally regulated kind of trade or market. So we have international standards, and as NCC we have always applied it. And the networks or the service providers or these multinationals you are talking about or foreign corporations have always tried to comply in certain ways. And this is not the first time we are fining or penalizing. You will agree with me that over time, because of the certain peculiar natures of the operating environment, when it becomes necessary for the NCC to penalize, having fully evaluated the options left to it, the NCC has always fined, and all our fines have always been complied with. So what your interpretation or measurements can actually be said not to be quite here or there as far as the telecommunications industry is concerned. Let's always try to remember that we have made a lot of progress in this industry, even though there's still a lot to be done. But we have actually achieved a lot of successes, which is actually part of the reason we are having this interview, even remotely, you know, from distances and locations.
All right, MTN is no doubt one of the biggest employers of labor in Nigeria as of today. There are those who are saying that if this fine is not reduced, it might lead to job losses. Do you agree?
I don't know if the fine, you should have said if the fine is not reduced and MTN fails to pay. Because if the fine is not reduced and they actually pay the fine and continue with their business and their lives, there will be no job losses. However, talking about reduction of the fine or whatever thing that will affect the ways and means the fine is going to be paid, as you know, is already being discussed at the highest levels of the NCC. Those who have authorization are actually attending to that particular issue. I do not have the authorization to talk about it. And they also know that the highest levels of government of Nigeria is involved, because the whole thing impacted so wholesomely on our security situation, which we all and you all are witnesses to. So those who will take that decision will take it. And I am sure that, just like you said, that the Honorable Minister has said, the government of Nigeria is not insensitive to certain issues that might arise at the end of the day. So I am sure, even as an individual, even though I may not be speaking for the NCC, because I am not authorized to speak up to that level, the best decision will be taken at the right time, and the most applicable aspects of the whole process will come out to play eventually. So the NCC definitely will handle it to the best understanding and acceptability of all.
Okay, and if it so happens, following these high-powered interventions or deliberations or discussions between all parties involved here, including the Nigerian government, if the MTN, for whatever reason, is not able to come up with this fine, what happens next?
Well, why do you want to be how do they say it, a doomsday sayer? Why don't you wait let's get to the bridge and we'll see how we cross it.
Okay, well, I don't intend to.
I have told you that the highest levels of decision makers at the NCC are actually handling this particular matter, and we are very capable. This is not the first time we are issuing a penalty, even though the amount involved in this time, and this will not be the last, definitely. So there are various regulatory tools and regulatory processes to handle situations of this nature, and the NCC is capable, under the leadership of Professor Umaru Garuba Dambata, will be able to handle it. We are very capable of dealing with it. So there's nothing to fear about.
All right, the issue of poor service delivery by these telecom companies has always been on the table or on the front burner. What more is the NCC doing to ensure there is better delivery by these telecom companies, including MTN, to the customers?
Well, I was in your studio some 2 or 3 months ago, not the TVC, but the Radio Continental, and we addressed that issue, can I say severely? You know, we had one in the morning, we had one in the night. So we have talked about the various quality of service guidelines that have been issued by the NCC that has continuously been updated and upgraded to ensure that it is in line and in tune with the times, with the current trends in telecommunication service delivery. Don't forget, let us, is it Ngozi and the IK?
Yes.
Yes.
Don't forget that we have made a lot of improvements. I'm not saying that we are there, we are already in El Dorado, no. There are still certain levels of quality improvement that we need to do. But we have also improved tremendously. There has been a lot of deployment and massive acquisition of state-of-the-art facilities and current real-time present-day technologies that are already deployed in the system to ensure that the quality of service that the Nigerian subscriber is getting measures favorably with what is obtainable elsewhere within our environment and even worldwide. And this does not only include the technical services or the pure service delivery, even in terms of costs, in terms of affordability, in terms of availability, in terms of spread. So I agree with you that the quality of service may not have reached the highest levels or the excellent levels we expected, but we have made a lot of improvements. And we have also told the Nigerian subscribers in various ways than one that they have a lot of powers in their hands to begin to check any of these anomalies whenever they occur. You know, if for any reason you get something on your phone, like the what you talked about, solicited text messages, you can stop it right there from your phone. And if that does not happen, you can report, you can call their contact centers on their helplines. They have them on the telephone, they have them on the internet, they have them on their websites. You can also walk into their customer care centers. So you don't sit down and complain and grumble. Sometimes some of those problems are so minor that a little action, proactively and consciously taken, can actually solve it to a very large extent or completely.
All right, speaking of
call their contact lines or go to their customer care centers, you can come to the NCC. You can call the NCC 622. You can go to the NCC website and avail yourself with the Consumer Affairs Bureau page, you know, on our website, and then get this problem sorted out. So we have put in a lot of mechanisms to help the consumers, the subscribers, to address any incidents of bad quality of service or unacceptable quality of service that may have occurred in the network.
All right, Mr. Aninweke,
you must give it to us that we have made a lot of improvements.
All right. Speaking of subscribers, telecom subscribers, the association known as NATCOM, in taking the NCC to the National Industrial Court, or the Federal High Court actually, in Lagos, is asking that the fines that the NCC have collected in the past should be refunded to subscribers for poor services on the part of the telecoms providers. what is your response to that? And they're also asking you to actually stay put or stay action on this fine that you have fined the MTN.
Well, I just heard about they are going to court this morning, and the court has not even ruled, and we're already on November 16th, so you never can tell. Maybe by the time the court is ruling or the issue is addressed in court, maybe a far-reaching decision that would have sorted everybody out may have been reached at the NCC. So, talking about making reforms, it depends on what the laws and the regulations say. If the laws of the NCC or the regulatory processes or the regulatory regulations say that such fines, when collected, will be paid into the government coffers. Don't forget that the NCC is a government agency. That's what most people seem to forget at times. So if it's already paid into the government coffers, and the law says it should be paid into the government coffers, then talking about sharing it to the subscribers could be neither here nor there. And when you begin to share, how much do you share to how many number of subscribers, and through what? And remember that the law also does not allow any financial refund to any subscriber except when the infringement or the infraction was financially conducted. In other words, if it's because of the loss of credit recharge or such other pure telecommunications means, it means you are going to be refunded by credit. You know, if you lost maybe 200 naira credit or 2,000 naira credit or whatever the case may be, what the law says is that you should be refunded 200 naira or 2,000 naira or whatever amount of credit you have lost. So they will recharge your phone by that amount of credit or by that amount of bandwidth. If it is broadband, if it is internet, or data as we all call it. So, and then if you want to do that, which means you have to refund the operators the fine they have paid over time, and then ask them to refund credit. You'll find out that you are actually shooting yourself on the legs or in the legs, because they would have lost nothing. The operators have the infinitude amount of credits warehoused at their networks, in their switches, that are ready to give out at any time. You know, it's only when you buy the credit that is converted to cash for them. So if you ask them to give, they have lost. So they will recharge your phone by that amount of credit or by that amount of bandwidth. If it is broadband, if it is internet, or data as we all call it. So, and then if you want to do that, which means you have to refund the operators the fine they have paid over time, and then ask them to refund credit. You'll find out that you are actually shooting yourself on the legs or in the legs, because they would have lost nothing. The operators have the infinitude amount of credits warehoused at their networks, in their switches, that are ready to give out at any time. You know, it's only when you buy the credit that is converted to cash for them. So if you ask them to give maybe 5 trillion worth of credit to Nigeria, they are ready to give it. And that is why you have all these promos when they tell you that if you recharge 30 naira or 300 naira, you can even get a credit of 1,000. You can get it multiplied by 5. They can even allow you to multiply it by 100 if they like, because these things are intangible financial assets warehoused in their networks and in the operating environment. And so, if you now say that they should pay back directly to the consumers, which we have actually applied in some cases where they are what is allowed by law or by our regulations. But if you say that for all infractions and for all cases that they need to be penalized financially, that they should pay back credit, then you definitely will not have the effect.
Okay, Mr. Aninweke.
Of penalizing. And you remember, penalizing or issuing fines in most cases is actually to deter the erring operators or the erring service providers from committing such an offense in the future. And so you have to apply measure that will be able to impact positively on forcing them to be deterrent to committing such offenses or even other related offenses in future.
All right, let me just...
and then business will continue as usual.
All right, let's come in here. Mr. Aninweke, stay with us. Listen to what Nigerians have to say about this fine that you have imposed on the MTN. Listen to
If the government is fining MTN for their shortcomings, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because I think it will make every other communication company to sit up.
Even them, giving them the fine, I wouldn't say is the best idea, because they will just wake up one morning and say, how much fine, 1.7 billion or thereabouts, and they will deduct the money from, let me say, 20 million subscribers. So it doesn't make any sense. So even if they want to fine them, will the subscribers are the ones to bear the consequences?
I think there is one way or the other. It's subscribers that will suffer, because you end up them trying to take it one way or the other from us. You just buy like 100 naira recharge card. So you can see I just bought a recharge card just now. So you can see me, and before you know it ends up, you just make one call and the money gets rolled away, and it doesn't make sense. It's too outrageous.
When we say we are fining them, let's say, okay, we are fining you so you can do this for Nigerians, do this in this country, something that will benefit people, not fining them and taking the money, putting it somewhere that we still ain't seeing them. If we are to find them, okay, I'm probably in support of that, but my point is, let's see where the money is going to.
That amount is too much. It's too much. To me, I don't fancy it. It's too much.
There is nothing wrong if they have defaulted and they have to be fined, but what of the people that suffer the immediate effect of the fine they have levied, they have given to them? That is the problem. So I will wish, if I will given the opportunity, that if they know actually that they cannot reach the subscriber, the immediate people that suffered this effect, then the essence of fining them is not relevant.
We Nigerians, some of us, we behave like, we prove to be very stubborn, that they will even refuse to go and register their line. I don't think really that is MTN's fault.
That money is too much. That money is too much. They should calm down.
If I thought they finally paid the fine of 1.4 billion to NCC, they will still use the anger on us.
I think they should at least give them a second chance. People change. Give them a second chance. At least they've heard. And it's a competitive world now. So other networks, they don't want to mess up so that people will drop them. So I think they should give them another chance again to try something.
All right, Mr. Okechukwu Aninweke is still with us. I'm sure you listened to the respondents, the fear that they expressed, that in the end, the customers will be the ones to bear the brunt. Have you thought about this?
Well, that's not going to be anything like that. He who offends actually bears the brunt of whatever offense the person may have committed. So, and you don't forget, you have to know also that there are penalties for wrongful charging of the customers. It will interest you that part of the NCC regulatory powers is actually the approval of the tariff or the prices in common man's language that is being paid for the services that are delivered. And so if any of the operators, not even MTN or perhaps MTN itself, begin to charge outside the approved tariffs or the approved charges for calls or services delivered, then they'll be penalized for it again. I mean, that one is easily attached to the, can easily be deciphered or applied. The interesting thing about the NCC is that we are so transparent and open, with a lot of integrity in our regulatory process, that in most cases, the laws are before you right there in your front. So if you commit any offense, you can even do the calculation yourself and apply the penalties yourself. So they do. I don't think anybody will attempt to do that. Nobody will charge Nigerians to pay for a fine that have been imposed on them for committing serious infractions, which has been applauded even internationally as being very correctly applied and having satisfied every form of standard regulatory guidelines globally. So Nigeria should not be afraid. And if anybody finds out that he has been wrongly charged and is sure that that has happened, they should report. You should report to the NCC.
Okay.
You should report to the operators first, and if they fail to refund, they report to the NCC. They will not only refund you, but if it infringes on any of the NCC rules and regulations on tariffs, the NCC will also take an action, which may also include another set of findings, so it can happen. Another point that was made was that it was too much. Let me take 1 minute to address that. The fine was too much. And you remember I said initially that the operators, the network service providers, including MTN, had the right and the option to get fined for whatever amount they think that they can pay or not to get fined at all.
All right, Mr. Aninweke, we'll have to leave it there.
1.04 trillion. Yeah. What we said is, if you have one defectively registered SIM card, you pay 200,000, and so you take it from there.
Okay, we'll have to leave it there.
So be too much or not does not hold any ground now.
All right, we'll have to leave it there, indeed. Okechukwu Aninweke, Lagos Zonal Coordinator of the Nigerian Communications Commission. Thank you so much for being...
Controller, that's what they call, that's what we call it, Zonal Controller.
Okay, Zonal Controller of the NCC, that's the Communications Commission. Thank you so much for being part of the show this morning and clarifying on these issues.
Absolutely. Interesting conversation there with him. Now let's wrap up with the view of some residents of Akure on the farm.
MTN is a network communication, and there are rules and regulations guiding their operation. If they have run foul of the guiding of the act operation, the fine is there. So it's not political, it's not wish hunting, and it's about maintaining the status and their operation. Otherwise, they will be doing what they like.
And thank God for this current government that have just been discovering most of the rot of the PDP. MTN has been exploiting Nigerians for long, right from its inception. So they deserve to pay penalty so that they will be more cautious next other time in dealing with Nigeria.
When you look at the MTN and their business activities over the years, and you look at the reason why this fine was actually given, then you will see that you begin to question, are they really doing their job very well?
Ordinarily, businessmen and women and corporate organizations should play by the rules. If they have violated any rules, they should be punished, they should be sanctioned. So I seriously support any sanction if they have violated the rules. I'm sure they will not be sanctioned if they have not violated the rules of the game.
All right, that's a look at the issues surrounding telephony in the country today.
Absolutely. Well, in the meantime, we're going to have to hand you over to the This Morning crew. Enjoy it.